All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today into Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros,
Ah, yes.
the sequel to Fourth Wing.
Oh, I know this one. I know this one.
We've got a great book review here to guide us as we explore this world. Get ready
Yeah.
for a fiery blend of dragons, military fantasy,
Hmm.
and some scorching romance.
Exciting stuff. It is exciting to see how Yaros builds on what we saw in Fourth Wing.
Right?
Iron Flame doesn't just kind of rehash the same elements. It really like kicks things up a notch.
Yeah, and it sounds like Violet Soaringale,
Oh, yeah.
our fierce dragon rider, is
Yeah. Yeah.
really going to be put through the ringer in this one.
She is. She really is. It's an understatement. Remember how he was kind of like the underdog in Fourth Wing?
Uh-huh.
She barely even made it through that brutal training.
Yeah.
Well, the challenges in Iron Flame, I mean, they're insane. They're even more intense.
Wow.
And it's not just about physical strength anymore.
Right.
She's like facing down political schemes,
Oh, man.
betrayals that cut really deep, and she's got to make choices that could actually change the entire Empyrean world.
It's like she's graduated from like basic training to like a full-blown war, right? The
Yes.
stakes are so high.
Yeah, they are.
And this book review hints at a much deeper dive into
Yeah.
the world itself.
Uh-huh.
We're going beyond just the dragons and battles.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting into like the nitty-gritty
Uh-huh.
of like the Empyrean politics, the magic system, all that fascinating dragon lore.
I love that. And the politics are, well, they're getting messy.
Ooh, okay.
The review specifically talks about themes of power and corruption.
Right.
We see these leaders grappling to maintain control and resorting to some pretty ruthless tactics.
Wow.
It really makes you think about the lengths people will go to for power and how easily it corrupts.
That's what I love about fantasy. It lets us like explore these big, complex ideas
Yeah.
in a world that feels like both
Oh.
familiar
Right.
and fantastical.
Totally.
So we've got Violet facing these like impossible challenges
Yes.
and this political landscape that's about to just explode.
Uh-huh.
But we can't forget about the romance.
Oh,
What is
no.
what is happening with Violet and Xaden Ryerson
Yes.
and Iron Flame?
Well, their relationship is front and center in this book.
Okay.
The review mentions that the romance intensifies,
Okay.
but it also gets a lot more complicated.
Ooh.
Remember those themes of betrayal and loyalty that we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, those play a huge role in their relationship too.
So it's not just like hearts and flowers.
Definitely not. I mean, it's definitely a whirlwind of passion.
Right.
But there's also some deep-seated trust issues
Yep.
and power struggles that they've got to work through.
Oh, interesting. That push and pull, that conflict between their
Right.
love and all these external forces that are like trying to tear them apart.
Uh-huh.
That's got to be what makes it so captivating.
It is.
And it sounds like Yaros isn't afraid to
No.
throw in some twists and turns to keep things interesting.
She loves those.
Right. The review promises some epic battles, magical confrontations, and plenty of action to keep us on the edge of our seats.
Yeah, the action is definitely intense, and Yaros really knows how to create that suspense.
Yeah.
But what I find most intriguing is how she kind of weaves in this theme of destiny versus free will.
Oh, interesting.
It makes you wonder if these characters are truly in control of their own lives, or if they're, just pawns in a larger game.
That's a question that always gets me thinking, you know? Are we masters of our own fate, or are we bound by destiny?
Right.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
I guess that's something we'll have to explore as we delve deeper into Iron Flame.
Exactly.
Speaking of delving deeper, the review did mention some criticisms.
Oh, okay.
So, some readers might find the pacing
Uh-huh.
a little slower compared to Fourth Wing,
Okay.
and that the focus on romance might overshadow the military fantasy aspects for some.
Yeah, that's a valid point. It really depends on what you're looking for in a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Some readers might, they might crave that fast-paced action, while others might prefer a slower burn that allows for deeper character development and world building.
Yeah, that's the great thing about books.
Totally.
There's something for everyone.
There is.
And this review was nice enough to suggest some other books
Oh, nice.
based on what clicked with you in Iron Flame.
Okay.
For example, if the political intrigue really grabbed you, they recommended A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas.
Oh, good one.
If the forbidden romance aspect is
Yeah.
your jam, then The Serpent on the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent
Uh-huh.
might be right up your alley.
I love that they offer these recommendations for different tastes.
Yeah.
It shows that they're really trying to cater to a wider audience.
Right.
But let's get back to Iron Flame. I
That's
mean,
right.
this book has been making waves. It's a bestseller, and there's even talk of a TV or film adaptation by Amazon.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Imagine seeing those incredible dragon battles
Oh,
brought to life on screen.
absolutely.
It's clear that Iron Flame has really, like, captured people's imaginations.
It has.
It's become a phenomenon, and it's fascinating to see how Yarros has built upon the world she created in Fourth Wing.
I think it really speaks to the power of a well-crafted story.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Right.
let's talk about that cliffhanger ending.
Oh, yes.
The review warns us that it's a doozy.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's like Yarros is daring us to wait for the next book.
I know, right?
But before we dive into the emotional roller coaster
Yeah.
of that ending,
Mm-hmm.
let's unpack some of the things that makes Iron Flame so compelling.
Okay. Well, one thing that really stands out in this book is how Yaros goes like deeper into the intricacies of the world.
Uh-huh.
We get a much richer understanding of the magic system,
Okay.
especially how it's tied to the dragons.
Right.
It's not just about raw power anymore.
Yeah.
It's about the bond between dragon and rider,
Right.
and how that connection influences their abilities.
That makes the magic feel so much more
Yeah,
personal and powerful.
it does.
I'm always fascinated by magic systems in fantasy.
Oh, me too.
It's like learning a whole new set of rules for
Right.
how the world works.
Exactly. And the dragon lore in Iron Flame,
Yeah.
oh, it's just as fascinating. We learn more about the different types of dragon,
Mhm.
their hierarchies, their unique abilities, and their ancient history.
Wow.
It adds a whole new layer of depth to the world,
Right.
and makes these creatures feel even more majestic and powerful.
Speaking of power,
Yes.
we touched on the political landscape earlier. We did. It sounds like things are really heating up in the Empyrean world
Yeah, they are.
with all sorts of shady dealings and
Yeah.
power struggles going on
Definitely, yeah.
behind the scenes.
That's right. The review hints at conspiracies and betrayals that reach like the highest levels of government.
Wow.
And Violet, being the strong-willed and capable woman she is,
Yeah.
finds herself
Right in the middle of it.
right in the middle of it
I
all.
can't imagine the pressure she must be under.
Oh, it's got to be immense.
Not only is she dealing with her own personal challenges and,
Yeah.
and this intense romance,
Uh-huh.
but she's also navigating a world that seems determined to tear itself apart.
It does. It really does. And this is where that theme of duty versus personal desire comes into play.
Oh, okay.
Violet is torn
Yeah,
between her loyalty to her family, her country,
right.
and her own heart.
Oh, wow.
She has to make these difficult choices
Yeah.
that could have really far-reaching consequences.
It's like she's constantly being pulled
Yeah.
in different directions, like forced to make
Right.
impossible decisions.
Yes.
No wonder the review mentioned those
Yeah.
criticisms about the pacing.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like Yarros is taking her time to really explore
She is.
these complex themes and character arcs.
It's a great observation. It's not just about, rushing headlong into action and adventure.
Yeah.
It's about, delving into the emotional and psychological
Right.
depths of these characters, allowing them to grapple with their inner demons
Yeah.
and make choices that feel authentic and impactful.
So it's more about
Yes.
quality over quantity
Yes.
when it comes to the action
Uh-huh.
and plot development.
Precisely. And for readers who appreciate character-driven stories,
Yeah.
that slower pace might be a welcome change of pace.
Right. It's about giving the characters space to breathe,
Yes.
to grow, to make mistakes,
Uh-huh.
and to ultimately find their own path.
Exactly.
That's what makes a story truly resonate
Yeah,
with readers.
it does.
And speaking of paths, what about that
Oh,
cliffhanger ending?
yeah.
What can you tell us about it without
Okay.
giving too much away?
Let's just say that that Yaros leaves us with a lot of unanswered questions
Oh no.
and a sense of impending doom.
Oh,
It's clear that the stakes have been raised even higher,
wow.
and the fate of the Empyrean world hangs in the balance.
It sounds like a perfect setup
It
for
is.
the next book.
Yes.
I can only imagine the fan theories and
Oh,
speculations that are swirling around out there.
I know.
What do you think Yaros is trying to achieve
Yeah.
with this cliffhanger ending?
I think he's masterfully building anticipation for the next installment,
Yeah.
but she's also challenging readers
Okay.
to think about,
Uh-huh.
the choices that characters make,
Yeah.
the consequences that ripple outward,
Right.
and the uncertainty of the future.
It's like she's saying
Yeah.
that even in a world of magic and dragons,
Uh-huh.
there are no easy answers.
Right.
Life is messy
It
and
is.
unpredictable.
It is.
And sometimes the best we can do is just hold on tight
Yeah.
and hope for the best.
That's a great way to put it, and it speaks to that larger theme
Yeah.
of destiny versus free will that we've been discussing.
Right. That's what I wanted to circle back to.
Okay.
Now that we've explored all these elements of Iron Flame,
Yeah.
I'm even more curious about this central question.
Okay.
Do you think Violet ultimately controls her own fate,
Right.
or is she bound to a predetermined path?
That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it?
It is.
And I think, Yaros deliberately leaves it
Yeah.
open to interpretation. I mean, throughout the book, we see Violet
Yeah.
grappling with these choices,
Mhm.
making decisions that defy expectations
Yeah.
and directly impact, the course of events.
Mm.
It suggests a level of agency, a refusal to be simply, swept along by fate.
I like that you pointed out her defiance.
Yeah.
She's not just reacting to what's thrown at her.
Right.
She's actively shaping her own narrative,
She is.
even if it's within a world
Right.
constrained by prophecy
Yeah.
and these powerful forces.
Exactly. But then we have those moments
Uh-huh.
where events seem almost preordained.
Right.
Like certain prophecies coming true or circumstances aligning in ways that feel almost too coincidental.
Yeah.
And this leaves that question
Right.
of destiny kind of lingering.
Yeah, it's like there's a constant tension
There is.
between her free will
Uh-huh.
and this looming sense
Yeah.
of a predetermined path.
Right.
It's a really fascinating concept.
It is.
And it makes me wonder about our own lives.
I know, right?
How much control do we really have
Yeah.
over our destinies?
That's the beauty of fantasy,
Yeah.
isn't it? It allows us to explore these profound questions
Right.
through the lens of a different world.
Right.
But the insights we gain
Yeah.
can often be applied to our own experiences.
It's like holding up a mirror
Yes.
to our own lives.
It is.
But with dragons and magic
Right.
thrown in
Well, with the-
for good measure.
Yes.
But let's not get too existential just yet.
Okay.
Before we wrap up our deep dive into Iron Flame,
Okay.
I wanted to touch on those book recommendations.
Oh yeah.
Again,
Sure.
the review mentioned
Yeah.
a few others that might be interesting to listeners
Uh-huh.
who enjoyed Iron Flame.
Yes, they highlighted The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang.
Okay.
For those who enjoy grittier military fallacy
Okay.
with a darker edge,
Oh.
it's a completely different setting
Right.
and tone from Iron Flame. But it deals with similar themes of war, power,
Yeah.
and the human costs of conflict.
That sounds intense.
It definitely is.
Wow.
They also suggested Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas.
Okay.
Which like Iron Flame is part of a larger series.
Okay.
It features a strong female protagonist,
Uh-huh.
intricate world building,
Right.
and a blend of magic, romance, and Xaden.
Ooh, another series to add
Yes.
to my ever-growing reading list.
It's a good one.
And finally, they mentioned Legendborn by
Yes.
Tracy Deonn,
Uh-huh.
which is described as a modern Arthurian's fantasy.
It is, yes.
It's a fresh take on classic legends,
Yes.
incorporating elements of contemporary culture and social commentary.
Uh-huh.
So we've got something for everyone.
We do.
From gritty war epics
Yes.
to sweeping romantic fantasies
Uh-huh.
to modern retellings of ancient legends.
It's amazing how diverse,
Yeah.
the fantasy genre has become.
It really is, and Iron Flame's a perfect example
It is.
of how fantasy can be both entertaining
Yes.
and thought-provoking,
Uh-huh.
offering escape
Yeah.
and insight in equal measure.
Exactly.
Okay, I think we've covered just about everything.
I think so.
We've delved into the world of Iron Flame, explored its characters, themes, and plot twists.
Yes.
And even touched on some other books
Uh-huh.
that might pique your interest.
They might.
But before we wrap up,
Yes.
I want to leave our listener
Okay.
with one final thought.
Okay, I like that. We've been discussing this whole idea of destiny versus free will.
All right.
But what if it's not about one overriding the other?
Okay.
What if it's like about the interplay between the two?
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's not about choosing one or the other,
Right.
but about recognizing how they might
Yeah.
coexist.
Exactly. Maybe Violet's journey isn't so much about like breaking free from destiny,
Right.
but about navigating it, making choices
Ah,
that shape how that destiny unfolds.
that adds like a whole new layer
It does.
of complexity.
Yes.
It's not just about
right.
rebelling against a predetermined path,
Uh-huh.
but about understanding that we might have a role to play
Yeah.
in how our destinies unfold,
Right.
even if we don't have like complete control.
And that's what makes the story so compelling.
Right.
It leaves us wondering like what choices will Violet make?
Yeah.
How will those choices influence the course of her destiny?
Right.
And ultimately, what does it mean to even have free will in a world where fate seems to have a hand
Right.
in everything?
Those are some heavy questions.
They are.
I think they're the kind that stay with you long after you finish
Yes.
finish the book.
They do.
It's like Yarros is encouraging us to think critically
Mm-hmm.
about our own lives,
Yeah.
our own choices,
Right.
and the forces that might be shaping
Right.
our paths.
Exactly. And I think that's a hallmark of great storytelling.
Yeah.
It entertains us.
Uh-huh.
It transports us to other worlds.
Right.
But it also challenges us
Right.
to think differently.
Yeah.
To question our assumptions and
Yeah.
to see the world
Yeah.
with fresh eyes.
So to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to dive into the world of Iron Flame.
Yeah.
Experience the magic, the romance,
Uh-huh.
the heart-stopping action.
Yes.
And most importantly, ask yourself those big questions
Right.
about destiny, free will, and the choices we make
Uh-huh.
along the way.
Exactly.
Let us know
Yes.
what you think.
We'd love to hear your theories, your insights, your favorite moments from the book.
Yep, absolutely.
And as always, happy reading.